Hi everyone, it's Laura here, and in today's video I'm going to share with you 2 Christmas cards that I created with a new cut file by scrapbook.com and some stamps by Fawn. I started by importing my files. The This the Season cut file by scrapbook.com has a lot of different files for cards, for planners, for scrapbook pages, and today I'm using some of the designs that are meant to be used for cards. Obviously, you can play around and mix and match your cut files however you like, but I'll be cutting 2 of the patterns with the sentiment "This the Season" out of some black cardstock, and then I'm going to cut the card front with the trees out of some white cardstock. I am using my scan and cut machine, but you can use the cutting machine that you have, whether it be a Silhouette or a Cricut, and the details of how you use the SVG files will depend on the particular machine you're using. I have another video here on my channel which explains in a little bit more detail how to use SVG files with a scan and cut machine, and I will link to it in the description box down below in case you would like to check that out too. And just a little FYI that if you're interested, as I am recording this voiceover, the cut file that I'm using today is on sale on scrapbook.com, and there you will also find a lot of exclusive scrapbook.com products on a discount too, so I will have a link in the description box down below for that too in case you'd like to check that out. Once my scan and cut machine was done cutting, I could peel off the painter's tape that I used to keep my paper on the mat, cause the mat has lost a little bit of its stick. And then I went ahead and removed the frame around the sentiment and the main panel that I die cut with the white cardstock. I'm going to leave the cutout sentiments and all those smaller trees on my mat as I start working on my cards and prepare everything else I need, because I don't want any small pieces flying around my desk, and there they are nice and secure. For my first card, I die cut some cardstock by Heffy Doodle with the Heffy Doodle Clover frames dies. I did that because the die will add a stitched detail all around my card front, which I really like. Obviously, this is a step that you can completely skip and just use your trimmer to trim down your cardstock if that's your preference. But as I said, I really like having that stitched detail. For this card, I'm going to create some sort of a pattern paper effect by adhering all those smaller trees to the base of my card. I'm adhering them more or less randomly, so I don't have like straight rows or straight column, because I want to create a little bit of interest and I didn't want my background to be super geometric. I then went ahead and adhered the sentiment "This the Season" to the lower portion of my card base, and I'm going to use this black card front as a guide to have a nice positioning of all the letters. I'm adhering them with Nuvo Deluxe adhesive. I like to use liquid glue for these kind of things. If you follow me, you know that by now. But you have to be a little bit fast, because if the glue oozes out a little bit, you risk sticking your main panel to the card base. So you will have that large black cardstock piece adhered to your card base, and that's definitely not what we are going for this card. I kept going and adhered the entire sentiment, and then I removed the black cardstock to reveal my card base. And you could leave this as is, and also the next card that I'll be showing to you right now, you can leave it just with the main panel and the sentiment and it will be great. But today I'm going to spice my cards up a little bit using some stamps by Fawn. But first things first, I have my second card here. So I have this cutout white panel that I also die cut with the Heffy Doodle Clover frames dies after having run it through my brother's scan and cut machine. And this is again to create that nice stitching along my card front, which gives a very nice detail in my opinion. I adhered the card front on another panel of that same Heffy Doodle cardstock cut to 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches, and then using again the same trick with my main black panel, I'm going to adhere the sentiment. This time, because the sentiment is actually larger than my card front, I decided to split it in 2, so I will have the SA on at the bottom, and then I will adhere the rest of the sentiment right above that. The sentiment this way is split, and if you will, the sequence of the letters is not quite right in the sense that it doesn't necessarily read "this the season" if you read it from top to bottom and left to right, but I think that because of the font difference and because you kind of know that this is a Christmas card, it all makes sense, and this way of splitting the sentiment on the card front works really nicely and actually brings extra interest to the card. So these are my cards at this stage, and I think they would work really nicely for some quick Christmas cards, which are also great for mass production. But for today, I decided to spice them up a little bit and add a few cute details. You know I love coloring, and you know that I love cute stamps, so I couldn't leave them out of this card. I decided to use images from the Fawn Frosty Fairy Friends stamp set, and I'm going to color them with my Nuvo markers. I stamped them on some Nina Solar White 110 pounds cardstock with my Spectrum Noir alcohol-proof ink, and I'm going to do some very quick and simple coloring, adding some hot pinks to contrast with that teal background that I have on the cards, and then I'm going to use some light blues and teals for the scarves, for the wings and the berries. I will have a list of the markers that I used on screen as I use them for your reference, but while I'm coloring these images, I just wanted to take a couple of minutes to talk to you about these cut files. These are new in the scrapbook.com range. I've had a couple of cards already on my blog, and there was one video here on my YouTube channel too, using a previous cut file. Usually what you get is a zip folder with cut files for your scrapbook pages, planners, and cards. You can resize those files for your needs. Actually, one of the cards that I have shared before used a planner page, so I just shrank that down to the size of my card front and I ran it through my scan and cut machine. But as I said, these cut files will work with any plotter pretty much. I'm still pretty new to the whole cut file world, but I have to say that I have found this really fun and cool to use on my cards. It's very quick to create these panels like the ones that I created on today's cards, and these scrapbook.com files I think are really beautiful, perfect for your Christmas and winter cards, and I absolutely love the style of that cut sentiment, so I'm really happy I got the opportunity to use these products on my cards today. And this is something that I definitely want to incorporate more in my card making and paper crafting because there is so much you can do. These files are quite inexpensive, and the great thing is that when you purchase, they are already, available for download, so you don't have to wait for shipping or anything. They're already there for you, which is an extra bonus in my opinion. So once again, if you are interested in these cut files or in any of the products that I used to create my card today, they will be listed in the description box down below with links to the stores where you can buy them. And also there will be a link to my blog where you will find close-up pictures of today's card. I finished up coloring my images, and as you can see I kept the color palette pretty limited because I had already enough going on my card and I really wanted this to be just accents. And then I went ahead and adhered the images on my card fronts using again Nuvo glue and scattering them in a way that made my design feel balanced, at least in my opinion. If you guys watch my videos, you know that I cannot leave it alone and I have to add finishing, accents and details. So this time I used my Nuvo drops, this is in the color Snow Blizzard, to add some glitter to the berries as well as to the scarves and the wings of the fairies. These Nuvo drops here will dry clear, but as I said, they have glitter in them, so they will add some nice sparkle, which I think is always in place on a Christmas card. Speaking of sparkle and shine, I also coated the sentiment with a glitter pen, and then maybe this was a little bit crazy, I don't know, because this is quite a large sentiment, but I decided to coat the entire sentiment with my Ranger Glossy accents. This again will dry clear and not two-dimensional and will add a beautiful shine to my sentiment. I think they are a really great product and I use them over and over again. And I especially like what I'm doing today, that is coating black cardstock with a shimmer pen and then coating that with the glossy accents, because once they dry, they create a kind of black glitter cardstock effect, but it's more subtle. There is a lot of shimmer and a lot of shine because the glossy accents will also be shiny in the end. And I don't know, it's like a magical effect. You have to try it, and if you do, let me know if you love it as much as I do. Alright, so I went ahead and coated the second sentiment too, and then I put everything aside to dry overnight. I made sure to put it somewhere I knew I wasn't going to put a finger on these card fronts and ruin my glossy accents. And then the morning after, I mounted everything on some white card bases that I created out of heavyweight white cardstock. And this finished off my cards. And that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments down below if you have an electronic die cutting machine. I am curious to know how many of my viewers actually have one. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel for more card making and paper crafting inspiration. And as always, thank you all so much for stopping by and have a great day.